everybody. My name is Celeste, and I run the Children's and Teens Department here at the American Library in Paris. Once again, welcome to all of you who come regularly, who stop by for books, and who join us via events online. And welcome to all of the new faces I see. Thank you for being here with us. We're happy to be able to host this virtually. It allows us to connect with you, even if we can't be together in person. And it also allows us to welcome people like Eva Lou, who's joining us from a whole nother continent, and Denis O'Hare, who's here in Paris now, but would have been able to join us no matter where he was working on projects. So Eva Lou is the founder of Madeline Editions and the author of Monster Dance. A Taiwanese-born, American-educated writer, Eva used to write mostly for adults until she became a parent of a story-loving little girl. So Eva set out to develop books that merge music and storytelling and moving pictures, and collaborates with artists from around the globe to bring families quality multimedia books. You'll see a reading and hear a reading from Denis of the picture book version of Monster Dance, but it's also available as a multimedia book. Eva Lou has authored several children's books, some of which have gone on to win the Indie Book, Family Choice, and Purple Dragonfly Awards. Eva holds a BA in Comparative Literature from Brown University and an MFA in Writing from Columbia University. We're very happy to welcome her to the library virtually to discuss this book with us. Hi, Eva Lou.
Hi, everyone. Here I am with the monsters from Monster Dance.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to see your faces.
Also with us today is Denis O'Hare. Denis is an award-winning actor known for his roles in True Blood, The Good Wife, and American Horror Story, so adults may recognize him from those roles. Throughout his career as an actor on stage and in film and television, he's received a number of awards, including a Tony Award for Best Actor for his performance in Richard Greenberg's Take Me Out. Since 2014, he's appeared in 3 films that were nominated for Best Picture Oscar: Michael Clayton, Milk, and Dallas Buyers Club. He's a graduate of Northwestern University and spent 12 years as a stage actor in Chicago before moving to New York. He currently resides here in Paris with his husband and their son. Denis is the narrator of Monster Dance for the multimedia app. Denis, thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Denis.
Hi, my pleasure. I'm very happy to be here in the library. It's so nice to be in the library with all these books, including this amazing book, which we're going to be reading today, which you can see right there as well.
So I'll just say you can check out the book from the library's collections if you're a member, but you'll get a taste now. Denis, are you ready to read for us?
I am.
All right.
Go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this virtual reading of Monster Dance, written by Eva Lou and published by Madeline Editions. I'm going to show you the cover just so you get a good picture of what you're going to be seeing today. And as we go through, I'm going to go ahead and show you some pictures here and there. Before we start, we're going to play you a little bit of music, because when you get the audiobook and you use the application, there's a little QR code up front. If you bought this book, for instance, you would just put your iPhone up against that and you'd be able to hear the narration and the music while you read it. Or you could just go online and do it that way. And the music is by Maurice Ravel, a very famous French composer. And the piece is called La Valse, which translates to the waltz. And the Monster Dance is a waltz. And so Eva Lou very smartly paired this music with this book. So we want to play you just a little clip so you have this in your mind that you might be hearing this while you're hearing the story. There we go. Amazing. There are 2 characters in this book. So the first character you're going to hear is sort of the narrator, and he is the amazing dog. And then there is Charlie, who is the amazing girl. And so I just want to show a picture of who you're going to hear speaking first. That's our first character, right? Okay, here we go. Something's up, but I don't know what. I've been watching this show for 3 dogged years, and never has it been this dull. I can feel it behind me, everywhere I turn. It is keeping friends apart. It is making the food drab. No more leftover duck à l'orange. And you got to see that picture. That's a great picture of the dog unhappily looking at his dog bowl. Too much drawing, not enough running. It has taken teachers hostage too. What would Ms. Robert do without fur therapy from me? And it is occupying my park. Arr! Who is this monster? And then Charlie comes in. And Charlie says, actually, it is not big at all. Even rather small. Minuscule, I'd say. Clingy little pests who'd love a way in. So wash your hands and paws. And Maurice, don't lick. These are the fleurs du mal that you don't want to pollinate. No need to get handy. Don't be their field bee. Show your love by respecting the distance. This little thing? Then why are we so scared? And look, she's showing you just how small it is using her microscope. And Maurice is checking it out too. Being careful is not being scared. Caution takes courage. Patience takes spunk. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Waltz with your worst fear. Before you know it, you can lead the dance. The monster dance. Lead by wearing masks. Lead by scrubbing hands. I love that all the monsters are wearing masks. Arm doctors and nurses with protective gear so they may continue to heal the sick. Lead by exploring from your home. Turn up the fado while slurping gelato. Lead by having fun in creative ways. Experiment with pastels. Channel Coco Chanel. Gift scientists the time to find a cure by doing your job, to grow with joy. When you miss the way it used to be, that is normal, Maurice. Remember, behind every mask is a smile. Behind every door is a wish you well. Okay, Charlie, but so you know, behind every you, there's me who loves you. Look at that. The end. And I'm going to read just real quickly the little thing about Maurice Ravel. It says, Maurice Ravel, the great impressionist French composer, composed La Valse in 1920. An unexpected take on the classical waltz, a romantic and harmonious melody miraculously emerges from total chaos and cacophony as the piece progresses. 100 years later, in 2020, as the world faces a global pandemic, La Valse reminds us to keep dancing. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you liked it. It's pretty great, right?
So much. That
And
was wonderful, Dennis.
thank you.
Dennis, I hope that you and Eva Lou will answer some questions from our audience. So we're going to open up questions to the audience. So please do submit your questions via the chat box. And I'm going to ask one question to start off that's sort of for both of you. I hope you can tell us a little bit more about the making of the book, because Eva Lou, you're far away, and it sounds like you did collaborate a bit on the creation of this. Can you tell us a little bit about the making of the book? It had so many team members taking part, including the illustrator, who I believe is in New York. And you're far away. Can you tell us more?
Yes, I can. So this was a book born out of confinement, really. So it started when I was, well, I'm sure you all remember this in spring during the first confinement, when I was in lockdown, like many of you were, and with my family, when I got a call from a doctor in Los Angeles. She's been working hard, treating patients in the hospital, but she also wondered if we could do something for kids, because, you know, they are wondering what's going on too. And so we teamed up with an illustrator named Guy Gilchrist, who has illustrated a lot of the cartoons that your parents grew up with. And you might know them too, like Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry, Ninja Turtle, and maybe you know the Muppets. If you don't, you should look them up. They're a lot of fun. So we teamed up with him and we thought, you know, let's make something for kids so they can understand what's going on, how they can help, and how this is not just waiting it out, how we can still enjoy this time and make the most of it. And so I started writing this story in France with my daughter and my dog. And Guy was busy illustrating in Nashville. He's based in Nashville in his studio. And Dennis was recording the story in a makeshift closet in his apartment in Paris. So we were all working together, but in confinement and remotely. And that was a lot of fun. It brought me a lot of joy.
It's funny.
Really
I remember us meeting Eva Lou in a restaurant back when we could go to restaurants without masks. I think in February, maybe it's even January, and we met to talk about something else. And then from that meeting, I felt like this came out of that as well. And we're both parents at the same school, and so we know each other socially through our kids. And I love how those things all begin to tie together. You know, and I've spent some time with you at your apartment, and your daughters played with my son, and I love how those things all came together to produce this book as well.
And it's neat to hear about how you were able to still connect and work together on a creative project, even though you were in confinement and stuck at home.
Yeah.
Victoria wants to know, Eva Lou, how did you get the idea to link the story to Maurice Ravel?
Well, so Madeline Editions, the publishing house I founded, we always work with music. All our stories are a collaboration between musicians and writers and illustrators. And when Guy asked me to write a story, I right away thought of Ravel's Levels, because, you know, it's every time I listen to it, it reminds me of monsters coming out of the cave, like the monsters you see behind me. And you're thinking, wow, what is this? What is this noise? It's kind of grating to my ears. This is chaos. What's happening? But then somehow, miraculously, this waltz, this very elegant waltz, this beautiful melody emerges. And this is kind of how I picture this year and how I hope it's going to go. So that's where the inspiration came from.
Someone else would like to know, Eva Lou, what inspires you when you write, aside from music? And Dennis, what inspires you when you perform? Can you share a little bit?
Sure. Eva, you want to go first?
Sure. So a lot of the stories I write for kids, I used to only write for adults, as Celeste has mentioned, but a lot of the stories I write for kids started as bedtime stories for my daughter. But this one in particular, I use my daughter and my dog as muse because I was in lockdown with them. So they were just around me all the time. And I enjoy, and I'm sure you do this too when you make up stories, that you take something you see around you, and then you kind of mold it and twist it into something else. And that's how I work a lot of times.
Yeah, I do something similar. I'm also a writer as well, and I use a lot of material from my life when I write. If I have a character I'm creating, I might found it on a real person who I know, and try to change enough details so they don't sue me. And when I'm acting, I often will start with the material. I always start with the material. As an actor, the way I was trained was the text leads. So you let the text tell you what to do. You look for the clues in the text and you let the text guide you. And I usually get an inspiration from an image or like Eva Lou said, like music sometimes. But yeah, would use whatever you can.
It's great that takes us back to music because someone else asked, do you do your own version of a monster dance at home? I think that question's also for both of you.
Yes, we do our version of the monster dance at home. I'm not sure if you want to see it because it's pretty monstrous, but we have a lot of fun doing it.
We do a lot of dancing at home. You know, we've danced at home since my son was probably 3, and not every night, but many times after dinner we go into a little bit of a dance break, and it's a way for him to expel some extra energy before bed. But it's also just a creative way to express yourself, and I love it. I love dancing. That's our monster dance.
Dancing is a great way to unleash some stress. And I'm sure you've both thought a lot about managing stress, especially in the making of this book and as you share it with people. What message would you like to share with people today about how to keep upbeat and positive and healthy during the times we're living in? That seems to be one of the main messages of this book.
I think one of the things that the book points to is that we're going to get through this. This will not be our reality forever. And so there's a sense of hope about that. And I know that for us in my house, we often just take it day by day, moment by moment. Don't worry about the future in a strange way. Don't worry about what you can do for Christmas because who knows what we're going to be. Can we travel in February? Who knows? You know, can you go skiing? Probably not. So, you know, we've done things like built a massive igloo out of cardboard. We played tennis in our living room. My son has recently discovered this crazy optical illusions box of cards, and he goes through those. We bought an indoor trampoline, a very small one, and that that's good for an hour or so. It's about making the interior space fun and attractive so that, you know, when you can't go outside, do you have an option?
Yes, I agree. So, you know, one of the main messages of this book is that you can lead this dance. You're not just sitting around feeling helpless. And this is what actually this project has done that for us because we feel like we're able in our own way to do by doing the things we do best. You know, storytelling, acting, illustrating, making music. We're able to make a difference by doing what we do best, and every one of you can do that in the ways in the ways that the book suggested. But I'm sure you can come up with lots of other ideas too. And for parents, you know, we worked with the nonprofit Donate PPE on this book. They help procure masks for our healthcare workers the doctors, the nurses who are working hard to treat patients during this time. And you can make a difference by actually getting this book, because every app and every hardcover purchase means more masks for healthcare workers. So there are so many different ways. This is just one of the examples, but I think feeling empowered is one of the best ways to not feel down.
Thank you so much. That's a great lead into the question here we have from Catherine, who is an author and also a speech therapist and creates speech therapy games. And her question is for both of you again: how did your kids react to the first versions of the books? And did they help make any suggestions to you?
Well, my daughter Sophie was very excited to see her dog become a main character in this book, and she definitely has some suggestions, and she's always the first person I read the stories to, so it's great to have a little critic at home. And she loved the page when they start dancing and waltzing. She always gets up and starts waltzing with them when we get to that page.
That's great. Declan loved it. He likes monsters anyway, and so he was very excited. His major contribution was his bedroom, because I used his bedroom as my studio. And so I would kick him out and I would slam the door and I would put towels up and I would try to keep all the sound out. And I had to tell everybody in my life, including my husband, you can't walk, you can't talk, you can't breathe. You have to sit still because sound travels, and I needed to get the sound clean. So they were very, very helpful and very, very nice to me in helping me to create the soundscape.
I'm sure they're both very proud to have been parts of the book, and also to see that cute dog in the book as a new character. And
Yeah.
Theodore wants to know, do you anticipate making these characters into other into other stories? Do you anticipate putting them in other stories, Eva Lou?
Well, yes, maybe. So Guy, the illustrator, he called me a few days ago and he said, are we going to put Charlie Morris's in other stories? Because I really love drawing them. So yeah, that's something to think about. But this story does take part of a bigger collection, the Mallory Editions collection. And each story is inspired by a different location around the world. So during this holiday season, since a lot of us are not able to travel, you can travel through these stories if you like. And they all have music and read aloud, and in the app version, the pictures even move and come to life. And it comes in English, French, and Mandarin. So that's another way to travel through language.
And another question coming in from the chat is, do you have a favorite monster? That's for both of you. And to follow that up, what is your favorite dance move?
Wow. Well, my favorite dance move is something my son does called Orange Justice, which he got from a video game, which he's pretty brilliant at. It involves lots of crossing over, and he's pretty amazing at it. Mine is the pony because it's doable. And when it comes to monsters, I'm an old-fashioned vampire lover. I've played a vampire when I was, I think, 8. I first dressed up as a vampire. I was on crutches because I had a hip problem when I was 8 years old. And so I had to wear crutches and a brace for a little while. And I had a cape, and the cape would cover the crutches. And so I got very good and very fast on them. So as I went around, for instance, trick-or-treating in the United States, in Michigan, where I'm from, I would fly with this cape and you couldn't even see the crutches. All you could see was this kid sort of like propelling forward. But I've always loved vampires, and that's mine, yeah.
Sorry to steal your idea, Dennis, but vampires are also my favorite because I love how there are so many versions of them, and how so many films and books there's just so many versions, and you can kind of make them your own version. So I like that about them. In terms of my best dance move, well, Well, I grew up in Hawaii, so I like doing the hula. And I especially like that move where you kind of draw an 8 with your hips. And it's fun. You should try it.
I think I'll have to go have a dance session here. Maybe not to the waltz, or I can figure out some dance moves to that. I'm sure that we have a few more questions. People have submitted a lot to both of you, about your creative process. But is there anything else that you would like to share before we wrap up our event with your young fans and your parents?
I wanted to just offer something else that people might be interested in. It's a movie I just made for NBC TV. It's called How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And we just made it in London, in confinement, rehearsing in masks for 3 weeks and staying in a bubble and testing and making sure we were all safe. And we pulled it off, I think, beautifully. And it's going to be on broadcast in American TV, NBC TV, on this Wednesday, December 9th at 8 p.m. It'll be rebroadcast on British TV, I think Sky 1 on the 20th. I'm not sure when. 8 p.m. is too late for people in Paris. That's 2 in the morning. But I think if you have an NBC app and a VPN or something like that, you might be able to access it. And then maybe there's a way to watch it later. I don't know. But Matthew Morrison of Glee fame is playing the Grinch, and I play a dog. I'm destined to play dogs. Yeah. I think.
Yes. If you are around later today, or even just anytime this week, check into our Madeline Editions Facebook, and there's going to be a free drawing lesson with Guy. He's going to show you how to draw an irresistible dog. So just check into our Facebook. I think it will be there starting in about 6 hours, and then we're just going to leave it up there so you can check in whenever you want. And if you have some burning questions for him, you can leave it in the comment underneath the post, and I'll ask him to answer your questions. He's very interested in your questions. So you can learn to draw your own dog characters too.
Thank you so much. It's really, really interesting to hear about how you've been collaborating even through all of this. It's such a great reminder to all of us, this story and the way you worked, that we can do a lot, even if we're not allowed to meet in the ways we're used to meeting. Even today, being able to connect with you here is really exciting, and to hear about your process. So thanks for making this possible, and thanks for sharing the book with us. Again, for those of you joining us here today, you can check out the book from the library. You can purchase it online. We've posted a link in the chat here. And you can check out some free coloring pages that were made available to go with this book, and some creative activities that are on the Madeline Editions website. We want to make sure that you're thinking about ways to conquer your fears and make your days fun and creative too. So thanks for being with us, everyone. A great round of applause for you, Eva Lou, for sharing this with us, and Dennis for being a part of it. Thank you so much. And we just have one last comment from one of our young members who said she didn't know the books, but she really loved it. So thank you. A great way to wrap up.
Thanks for having us. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much to the library for hosting, and I love seeing all of your faces.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you again, and thank you for being here. Goodbye, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday afternoon. We hope to see you all soon at the library.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.